I live in Orlando, Florida, and I'm part of the doctoral program here for theology, the THD program, with a focus on semiotics. So I'm part of the pneumatic track. I pastor a church in Orlando, Florida. I have a wonderful ministry team there helping me to do that, and it allows me to oversee a number of churches and pastor pastors within our diocese and throughout the United States and the Caribbean.
I'm pursuing the MDiv track of the Kairos project, and I'm currently working at a church as a pastoral resident. I don't think I'll be the pastor who works at a church for 30 plus years. I think God has really given me a heart for helping churches that are hurting and bringing in maybe some new ideas or providing some new leadership. So I have no idea where the Lord is going to take me, but I just know that it's in the direction of pastoral ministry.
Originally, Evangelical wasn't on my map. However, two friends in ministry told me about Evangelical, which prompted me to look, particularly told me about some of the faculty here who's working and what tracks are being offered, which is what landed me in the semiotics track and the doctoral program here.
When I sensed God's call on my life to be a therapist or a counselor, I wasn't sure. I just knew God was calling me in that direction. And where I was doing my undergrad was encouraging me to start there with my master's degree, but I didn't have a peace about it. And I went to 3 therapists that I knew who were not all graduates of Evangelical, but I asked them each separately where they would recommend I go and in what direction. And all 3 independently said, we recommend Evangelical. That's where you should go, hands down.
In me, the Lord is really developing and shaping theology in a different way. That's one of the things I love about the program right now, because I'm approaching scriptures in new ways. I'm looking at the work of Jesus in a new way, looking at preaching in a new way, and that's what's happening within me. There's a renewal of the Spirit. A lot of the work that I'm involved in and I see the Lord involving me in and doing is about taking what He's given to me and reproducing it in others, sharing it with others. I spend a lot of time teaching and training, and then that impacts the mission of the church in the different cities, states, and nations that we're directly involved in.
I consider it an honor to sit with people on a small portion of their journey, to sit with them as they share their hurts, their wounds, their triumphs. I feel blessed that they are allowing me to sit with them through that part of their own transformation.
Traditionally in seminary education, a student wouldn't necessarily have people mentoring them. They have teachers and professors, but no one that's really invested personally with them as they are moving through their theological education. So my mentor team provides for me accountability.
I think the highlight of my studies has been learning to see Scripture not as text but as a story. It renews my own faith. It helps me to do what I've been wanting to do, is to be more effective in sharing and communicating the gospel.
Figuring out things about myself, where I come from, maybe what I've brought with me from my family of origin, and recognizing those things, fleshing them out and working through them in myself created a lot of aha moments. Even when I decided to come to Evangelical, I had no idea the things God revealed to me in that process, and just taking those steps forward. I believe that the same will hold true with my future after I graduate. I just really enjoy learning, so just all of the different things. I enjoy this field and Evangelical because of the constant learning. This is a field where I will never know it all. There's a constant opportunity for growth in learning, and so that is probably another one of my favorite things.
The neat thing about Kairos is that I get to count some of my ministry experience and the work that I'm doing as a pastoral resident and put that towards my seminary degree. So the things that I do at the church, whether it's preaching or teaching a Sunday school class or helping out with our young adult group, pretty much anything that I do in ministry, I can kind of turn into an assignment for my seminary education. And so I'm getting a very practical form of seminary education where I'm not just sitting in a classroom learning, but I'm out in the field while I'm learning. And I think that is really preparing me for a future in pastoral ministry. And that practical experience that I'm getting now while I'm in seminary will be super helpful moving forward.
One of the things I love about Evangelical is the culture of it. It's so pastoral. And I mean that the staff at Evangelical, the people that I've been meeting and engaging are very loving and caring. It doesn't feel entirely like an institution. It feels more like a family. It feels more like finding a tribe. Evangelical Seminary is not a monolith. It is an amalgamation of so many expressions of Christ and His church. I love it.
I think one thing that has been one of my favorites is the Cohort Model. And just that, the camaraderie and the kinship that I have developed with those in my cohort, even as we've gone online and are not necessarily meeting in person, our cohort still gets together, those of us that are still in the area, and they are the ones who I turn to in times of trial or times of rejoicing. We all lean on one another. And I believe that cohort model and the relationships formed there is one of my favorite things.